Hey everybody, in this video we're going to talk about distracting yourself from repressed emotions and how that's a trap, how people do it all the time, how I did it for forever, where I just keep on doing the next thing, the next thing, the next thing to go ahead and avoid these emotions I didn't know how to deal with, And this was my strategy. I would either do the next thing and constantly stay occupied to avoid these inner emotions, these inner conflicts, or I'd consume something to go ahead and avoid these inner conflicts. And this was the pattern that led me into a place where I did not deal with my emotions and my subconscious. And it just kept going on and on and on, where I had these issues I couldn't deal with because I was consuming things or I was always doing things. So I didn't have time to actually look at the problems and change my perspective, change my narrative around these things. So before I go into a little bit further, let me say I'm not a medical doctor. It's not medical advice based on my personal experiences or informational and educational purposes only. So back to the topic here. So what I realized is that when I was distracting myself all the time with things constantly, it was fun when I was in the moment. I was doing these things because I felt like life was okay at that time. But eventually I'd keep seeing these things that would remind me of these subconscious emotions or thoughts that I had not addressed. And I would have to keep on doing things to keep my mind off it. Or if I was already doing something, I would have to consume something then to get my mind off it. So I was constantly stuck in between doing things, consuming things, running from my repressed emotions. And I really had no time to even deal with the repressed emotions. And the emotions would come to the surface whenever I would burn out. And then they would just hit the surface and be like, oh man, I would be like, oh my God, where were these emotions? I didn't have all these thoughts here over the last couple of weeks. Why am I thinking this, right? But all of a sudden during burnout, all the emotions came to the surface. And I realized I had never dealt with these emotions at that point in time because I had just been running from them by continuously overdoing things, working forever, doing this, doing that, watching something, never actually giving time for myself with my own thoughts where I can go ahead and get through these thoughts and overcome them. And this is what, was really a trap for me. So how did I get out of this situation? How did I get out of this situation where I would stop running from my thoughts? I stopped consuming things to run from my thoughts. I stopped doing things to run from my thoughts. How I got out of it really was slow, deep breathing and meditation. Once I started to do slow, deep breathing meditation for a good, let's say a good hour a day, when I really went into it, what happened? I started to feel much, much better. I started to slow down everything. I didn't need to constantly consume something to feel better because I already felt better. I didn't need to do something because I already felt better. I didn't need to do anything. So the things that I was doing in excess, now I didn't even really want to do because I was calm already. And I realized by doing them in excess, I was just avoiding these emotions. By doing the meditations and the breathing, I was actually letting myself address the emotions. I was able to slow my mind down enough that I was able to go ahead and look at what was in the background in my mind that was still there, and be able to change the narrative and the beliefs about these things so I can look at things in my life and not have them remind me of these inner stories that were conflicting and these problems in my own mind. So this is how I beat it, was through the meditation, the deep breathing, the faith, the belief in a purpose, the following the purpose, taking action on the purpose. Because you can't just run and keep running and running from these inner conflicts, these inner emotions, because eventually they will catch up, they'll manifest. Your subconscious directs a lot of your behavior because it directs your responses to things when they occur. So, you can't run, you can't distract yourself forever. Time to sit down, meditate, do some deep breathing. Stop consuming things and distracting yourself there. Do a fast, do some deep breathing, center yourself, figure out where you want to change in your life to be happy. Make the changes. Don't live 20, 30 years from now and distract yourself and wake up one day and realize, what the heck did I do with my life? That is definitely not what you want. So go to my website, endsickness.org. I went through pain and struggle to create hundreds of articles of videos there teaching you how to heal yourself. Thanks for watching, everybody.